A school district of the future prepares lifelong learners to demonstrate mastery of 21st century competencies that will equip them for continuous success.
DeKalb County School District is a leader in K-12 and early childhood education and has developed a comprehensive master plan to ensure school improvements are made throughout the DCSD community.
Students can reach their fullest potential and excel when schools are well maintained and capital resources are up to date.
Whether it's state-of-the-art learning spaces, our 7 robotic programs, renovated and innovative schools, or technology devices for every child,
these resources and investments not only benefit the DCSD community, but also the taxpayers of DeKalb County.
A top priority for DCSD is supporting social and emotional skills of young learners and their families, and our Early Learning Center addresses the readiness gap.
Every 5 years, we assess DCSD schools and facilities, technology equipment, and examine construction to address overcrowding and to accommodate growth so that DCSD scholars can thrive. To achieve and excel, we provide technology at your fingertips with anytime, anywhere access, infrastructure enhancements, business system integration, and instructional tools to support top-of-the-line connectivity and cybersecurity, and a family impact hub that meets diverse families where they are.
So, how do we pay for these general improvements to impact student achievement and positively affect the DCSD community?
E-SPLOST is a 1-penny sales tax that allows school districts to fund their capital improvements. The voters of DeKalb County will be asked to extend the 1-penny sales tax for another 5 years. This education special purpose local option sales tax is critical to building our children's future and equipping our community for success.
Good evening, everyone. It is now 6:05, and I'm going to call our March meeting to order. Thanks, Mel. Let me check the room. Okay, I see we've got 2 visitors, so I want to thank them for coming. And we're going to move along on our agenda to review and approve the March 22nd, 2023 meeting agenda. Are there any additions to the meeting agenda as distributed? Okay. Can we, by unanimous consent, if there are no objections, agree to the meeting agenda as distributed for March 22nd, 2023. All right, hearing none, the meeting agenda is approved as distributed. Next item on our agenda is review and approval of the meeting minutes from February 22nd, 2023. Are there any corrections or additions to the February 22nd, 2023 meeting minutes? All right. Can we, by unanimous consent, if there are no objections, agree to the meeting minutes for February 22nd, 2023 as distributed? All right, hearing none, the meeting minutes have been approved. Next item on our agenda is discuss follow-up matters from the prior meetings. First, report on the E-SPLOST items presented at the March 2023 Board of Education meeting.
All right, there was only one item that was presented that was SPLOST related, and that is for the E.L. Miller Elementary School project. This was one piece of the project. This was to mobile modular to set up a classroom unit there. This will be a temporary modular classroom system. The contract amount was $312,538.88. And basically what this is for is to move students into this modular classroom setup so that the hall that their classrooms are on in the building the work can be done in the hallway there. So we'll move students out, do the work in the hall, move students back in, move another group of students out, do more work, etc. So this is, we've done this in the past. I think Southwest DeKalb might have been one. There were a few schools in the past where we've had portables where kids have been moved out so we could do work in it. And then that was also, so that was item 4A. If there are any questions. And then I can move to item 5 because it's the same item for the contract. That was the only item we had. That was the only SPLOST item we had.
Okay, any questions from anybody? All right,
Lost my agenda.
Mel is showing his agenda. Can you see it, Richard? Okay. Review of the community feedback collected from the E-SPLOST committee email address. Daniel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We received 6 emails since our last meeting. First email was received on February 23rd regarding E-SPLOST 5 project 21335 MSR status. Let's see. It's shown as was shown as completed in the January 2023 MSR. Yet the current activity column for this project shows that an RFP is out for considerably more work. Let's see, comment about a grade that is needed and BOE approved work at Clarkson High School is being done. Please ask that the MSR be updated to show accurate project status.
Richard?
Let's see, I believe, and I think Mel can probably provide confirmation as well. I believe we completed or responded to all 4 of the emails except for the, 4 of the 6 emails except the 2 that were received today.
Right.
Those 2 we'll need to look into. So those have been responded back to.
And I think of the 2 that were received today, one was a suggestion, so I'm not sure if a response is needed. But I think the one is a response is needed.
Yeah, and we'll look into those. I got those this afternoon, but we'll definitely look into both of those.
Okay, thanks, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Richard.
Mel, you showing your screen again?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. I think it's you anyway, so
Yes, it is.
sharing your screen. All
Yes,
right,
it
thanks.
is.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We'll do our normal walkthrough of the MSR, and we'll share some notes as we do. Regarding our funding, no change in funding receipts, tax receipts for SPLOST 4, of course. You see your GADOE, actually GISFIC reimbursements this month, 4,772.40 for Woodridge Elementary. That brings your SPLOST 4 total to date to $84,579,652, a few pennies. No GISFIC reimbursements this month or in February. That total remains $741,657.60. So you've got a total between SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5, just fig reimbursements in the amount of $85,321,220.62. Let's not forget our cents. Table 1 summarizes your E-SPLOST 4 funding. No change in the tax revenue, of course. Table 2 provides you a summary of your E-SPLOST 5 funding. As we mentioned last period, E-SPLOST 5 final funding numbers ended up well above our expectations at $772.9 million total. $616.8 million was tax revenue, and that was more than $50 million ahead of the forecast through the end of the SPLOST 5 cycle of $530 million. Table 3 is a quick summary of your E-SPLOST 6 funding. $89.9 million has been collected to date. That through the end of February, and that represents an $11.9 million increase for the period. Total forecast receipts you may see there was $84.3 million, so we're trending at about $5.6 million above plan. Table 4 summarizes your commitments and expenditures. E-SPLOST 4 expenditures essentially complete. Maybe $1,600 or so was booked at Hightower Elementary, which is in closeout, contract and financial. And the only other project that's technically still open is the Howard's High School Culinary Lab. But based on the CMP recommendations, that project likely may not go forward. Table 4 shows your E-SPLOST 5 expenditures of $284.8 million. And that represents a modest $1.6 million increase in the period. And no expenditures reported for E-SPLOST 6. Chart 1 provides your summary of all E-SPLOST 4 funding commitments and expenditures. There's the $565.1 million total to date. Chart 2 provides your summary for E-SPLOST 5 funding commitments and expenditures. And your red curve shows you your $284.8 million in expenditures through the end of February. Obviously not much activity for table 5 for E-SPLOST 4. I mentioned Hightower Elementary is the only minor expenditures. Table 6 breaks down your E-SPLOST 5 budget commitments and expenditures by project phase. And there's the approximately $284.8 million total. Table 7, we call it the rainbow chart, provides the breakdown of your budget commitments and expenditures by region. You can see the 284.8 approximately expenditures to date, and that represents about 45% of the current budget of $630.3 million. Just a reminder, we added Appendix E at the end of the MSR to enable one-to-one matching of expenditures of those projects that are bundled by region in Table 6 against the individual project expenditures where the facility at the location where the work's actually taking place. Table 8 provides your cost performance ratio with negative variance information, and you can see that cost performance ratio is described there. Basically, if the estimate at complete is greater than the current budget plus 5%, projects show red. And the only entry remains the technology ERP finance HR system, sales tax and state reimbursements account, project number 40235. And we're told that the issue is under investigation by Division of Finance and Division of Informational Instructional Technology. Beyond that, all of your other cost performance ratios are in good standing as depicted by the green shading or highlights. And table 10 provides that same cost performance ratio data for SPLOST 5. Remember that your positive or neutral variances are in green. The shaded lines indicate completed or closed out projects. And the bold text indicates that the project is active. That means beyond planning phase. So we're looking good there. That looks all right. We did mention 40235, which is amber. We're using yellow. We're having trouble getting amber in our color scheme. That yellow indicates that amber that I mentioned. Tables 11A through 11H provide similar information as tables 9 and 10. However, while those tables are organized by project number, tables 11A through 11H are organized by region. And there's basically a break line between the, generally speaking, construction projects and district managed projects for each region. You may recall the region header is color coded to match the region map at the front of the report. So everything appears to be in order here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Table 12 provides your projects with schedule performance measure currently indicating red. You call if the finish date is more than 15 days after the baseline finish date, I should say current finish, to be more specific, is more than 15 days after the baseline finish date, then the schedule performance measure shows red. And these projects are shown on a detail table with the appropriate delay indicator. The only new delay is the Champion Theme Middle School. It's HVAC component replacement fire sprinkler installation. And the district is holding that GC award, considering what scope may or may not be included in the E-SPLOST 6 project list. Table 13 provides detail baseline start and finish and current start and finish dates for E-SPLOST 4 projects and their schedule performance measure. Table 14, similarly, these are organized by project number, as you may see on the left. And all of these red flags are summarized on table 12 that we looked at previously. Those are the values transposed up to table 12.
Hey, Mel,
Yes, Kathy.
can we stop for 1 second? Because I'm seeing, I don't like red. I'm seeing a lot of red.
Yes, ma'am. Same number as last time, plus one more. I think it's about 30. And in the notes, you'll see that we expect that in the mid-year E-SPLOST 5 realignment, we'll be asking to re-baseline these projects.
Okay, and what does that mean?
That means that due to whatever, and the table shows you what issues occurred, table 12, whatever that issue might be, if we currently know that the current schedule can't be met, we make a request of the board, well, first of operations leadership, and then effectively the board to change the baseline dates to those dates that we believe we can achieve, and then measure the project's performance against those dates, as opposed to dates from the past.
So you're readjusting the date?
Yes, ma'am, that's a good word.
Okay, do you mind if because we got plenty of time, can we go back and look at table 12?
Yes, we sure can. So the projects where we make that recommendation are highlighted here. Oops. All right. Here. So Midvale. Excuse me. Tony. Livesey, HVAC replacement. DeKalb High School Technology South, HVAC replacement.
You missed one. Knightley Elementary School.
Livesey. Sorry, yeah, Livesey, sorry.
No, it was 36, I think it's 38,335. Or 36,335, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll make sure we reflect
And the
that.
one above that, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and it was Kingsley,
Yeah, Kingsley and Dresden.
Kingsley and Dresden.
Thank you. Rock Chapel, HVAC replacement. Laurel Ridge, HVAC replacement. Woodridge, HVAC replacement.
Now, the common theme is there are HVAC replacement. Is that,
It's typical given the current status of HVAC equipment deliveries.
mhm.
Yes, ma'am. We try to keep pretty close track of that, and lately, all of our intelligence points to really extensive delivery lead times for HVAC equipment. For example, fan coil units and heat pumps are being quoted up to 26 weeks. Air handling units are being quoted up to 36 or 42 weeks. And on the electrical side, switchgear is being reported up to 12 months. Generators are quoting at 50 weeks. So depending on when we actually issue a contract for construction, that builder then gets into a queue that basically has at least half a year in some places, some cases, of equipment procurement time before we can actually start construction.
And I was going to add, Mel, that some of those lead times are actually down from what they were a few months ago. Because I know you just said switchgear was basically 52 weeks. A few months ago, it was 80 weeks.
Correct.
So it's, those lead times are coming down a little bit, just not what they used to be 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we haven't recovered from pre-pandemic, but we're still
Right.
pretty extensive for most of your major gear. I agree, Richard.
Okay, so quick question.
Yes.
Based on the fact that we know, we do know that there are going to be some HVAC replacements that will occur in E-SPLOST 6. What are we doing to, kind of lower that timeline? Are we trying to get the equipment ordered and in queue now so that we'll have it once it's, it's time to put it in place? Because my concern is, we're talking about, heating and air conditioning, for our students, our scholars, it may be major. We can't let them be in a cold or a very extremely hot building. And the expectation is that they are learning or testing in that type of environment.
That's correct.
Unlike systems, I would say simpler systems, you can put an order in for a 2-ton unit for your house, or 3-ton or 4-ton unit for your house. But these systems are designed for the, for the particular application. So it's really, for the most part, we need to wait on design to be complete for these before anything could be ordered. That's some of the complications with commercial projects.
That's correct, Richard. And to your point, Kathy, we wouldn't, what's the word? It's a facilities maintenance issue, but their goal is not to ever let, or they try to ensure that all students in all classrooms have adequate HVAC. Typically, these projects are not correcting an emergency, which is what you would be describing. These are planned improvements and upgrades that we work into the schedule.
Okay, so it's not like the system is not working, it's just replacing an older system.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other comment I would make and piggyback on what Richard pointed out, we've talked about the notion of trying to procure HVAC equipment, quote, in advance. But to Richard's point, you need the system design. We need a builder, a contractor, meaning a general contractor, or construction manager at risk under contract to go ahead and place those orders. So that's our goal, to get the builders under contract as soon as we can, given the overall approvals by the Board of Education. We're thinking about possibly grouping some of the smaller HVAC replacement projects so that those construction managers at risk can do more volume purchasing. That gives them a little more purchasing power with the various distributors, or suppliers. And we're in that conversation as soon as we kick off a contract award with the builder. So very good point.
This is Lisa. Good evening, everyone. I'm trying to turn my video on. I'm having challenges. Okay. My question is, based on what you just said, are you going to change your strategy in trying to get the design and, the construction manager at risk on board sooner? Is there anything going to be changing our process on how we're doing things?
When you say changing our process,
Meaning, is it going to speed up getting, the time frame on how you put bids out, how you approve them, so that we can get since you said you need the system design before you can think about procuring the equipment and different things. Is there any way that can be changed to address this situation? And also, how many suppliers of HVAC systems do we currently contract with or deal with? Just give us an idea of what the industry of HVAC for schools looks like.
So I can answer part of that, Mel, then you can jump in. To the last part, on these types of projects, on these where we're hiring a contractor, the general contractor is who we would hire. Then they go out and procure or buy the equipment. I'm not really sure how many different types of suppliers for HVAC units there are out there, whether they're buying them from a wholesaler or direct from the company. I'm not sure how the general contracting business works with that. Mel might be able to fill in a little bit more. As far as the design, that is something we can certainly do. We've been looking at this first part since we're 4 months in the E-SPLOST 6. We've been putting out the designs for design procurement for the larger projects, those that will take at least a year or so to design. So we are kind of working up to that. But yeah, we'll put these out. What we typically do also is we don't typically plan for a project until we have the funds in the bank. So it wouldn't do a whole lot of good to do a lot of design work now and then have projects sit because we couldn't procure them if we're procuring other projects as well. But that's something we can certainly look at, see how we can pull these forward, and hopefully over the over the next year or so, those delays will lessen even more than they have so far. Mel, did you have more to add?
Thanks, Richard. I think that was very helpful. I can say that if there are a dozen major manufacturers of HVAC equipment on the market, Ms. Wright, the district typically, for a number of smart reasons, specifies the option of a designer to pick out of 3 or 4 so that our universe isn't too scattered. We do our facilities maintenance folks a great service when we standardize. So that's a big important part of putting together a program, if you will, especially HVAC and electrical systems.
And I have one more question, just regarding the bundling of buying, products. Is that a possibility that you've never pursued before and you're considering now, or has it ever worked in the past? And how can you utilize that, group purchasing in different areas to save money?
Yeah, we've done it in the past. We're currently doing it on other projects, and we expect to do it in the future.
So it has been successful. So we just never tried it with HVAC units.
Well, there might be some components that Bobby would order for, motors or things like that. But as we're saying, the HVAC units are sized for the specific conditions, the number of spaces, the size of the spaces, et cetera, that it's going to be serving. So it's hard to get a whole bunch of any one in, but you can get, different motors or different pieces to it. What we have done in the past is, as Mel was saying, we have done where we've bought like toilets, and we've in bulk, and we've gone in and we've replaced a number of toilets. We did that with our drinking fountains most recently, where we bought a large number of bottle fill stations, and this is through the maintenance side, went through and replaced water fountains with bottle fill stations. So we have done that. And then some of what Mel was referring to also is we do bundle some of the projects to make them more attractive to bidders as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Kathy, I hope that helps with our plan for the schedule management.
That does, but I don't like red, and I'm sure you don't either.
Correct.
But I have another question. I'm sorry, it just occurred to me. I thought now that we're designing schools that are prototypes, in that planning, does that include, like you said, bundling of other things that we didn't bundle in the past? Because how now I thought we're trying to do these, prototypes for middle school, prototypes for this type of school, not just the updating of older schools. So how has that whole bundling, is that a consideration when you're, looking at the standardization of the design?
So the only projects that we did a prototype on were the elementary schools. In E-SPLOST 5, we had 10 of those. The intent is for the new projects and new elementary schools in E-SPLOST 6 and in the future that those will not be prototypes. They will be what we call one-off designs, primarily because there is a lack of space for the district to use to move students out, to move a student out of, say, I'll just say Dresden since it came up, for a Dresden rebuild, to move students out to, put a prototype on that site, you would have to basically demolish the building, or if you would have to demolish the building, then, to get a prototype on. So what the one-off type project or, something that's a specific design, it will allow you to work with the being able to build a new building on a site while the existing school facility is still in place. That was done at Chambly, where students were, they were moved, if I remember correctly, because that was, what, 10, 12 years ago. Students were moved into some portables. Part of the building was demolished. Part of the new building was constructed. Students were moved into the new building, and then, so it's kind of a phased approach. You build some of it and you move kids into the new part, and then you can tear down portions as you continue the construction. So what the prototype is good for is if you have a blank piece of land or a large piece of land like our Indian Creek, where it already had a large athletic field and track. And that is where the new school was built. So it was able to be built while the existing school was still being used. The trouble we have is trying to find swing space to move kids out of a building and put them somewhere while the existing building's demolished and a new building is constructed. So that's really why we are going to move away from prototypes. It was good to be able to use those while we could, but for the foreseeable future, the new projects or new builds will be a one-off or a specific design solution. You're muted, Mel.
Excuse me. Thank you, Richard. So Kathy, the term rebaselining is tossed around mainly because what we asked the board to do is, well, first Richard and Eric, and then the board to approve changing the baseline start and the baseline finish dates to what are realistic dates that we can make or achieve starting from where we are when we make the request. That's why we tend to call it rebaselining, because those dates would be changed to something reasonable.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Appreciate that.
So tables 15A through 15H provide similar data as tables 13 and 14, but again, they're organized by region and then project name. So if you know the project name, you can find your school or facility. And they're color coded similar to the district map. Looks like my screen's freezing up a little bit. Table 16 provides you your closeout and completed project list. It's organized by E-SPLOST 4 and 5. So you've got all of your closeouts that are current and your completed, which are complete. E-SPLOST 4 and then E-SPLOST 5 stacked on top of each other. And then we've got our appendices. Appendix A provides you your E-SPLOST 5 carryover information. It's detailed information on each project, including what phase it's in, the current budget broken down by the work breakdown structure, the project phases, basically in the UNIS and ProLiant systems, commitments, expenditures, and EAC, current start and current finish, and any special notes that are helpful for the reader. We've been trying to get that current, it's a lot of data, quite frankly. And there are at least 18, 19, 20 pages of E-SPLOST 4 information. E-SPLOST 5 program information is in Appendix B. It's set up similarly with detailed budget breakdown by phase, current start and finish dates, scope description, and any special notes that we want to share. called the current activity column. Appendix C provides you your funding, plan versus actual by month. It's a detailed report. It allows you to, at any point in the SPLOST funding cycle, see what was expected, what was received based on its category, and then total funding on the right. Sales tax, bond reimbursements, and any transfers. For SPLOST 5. And we've added SPLOST 6 to that Appendix C, plan versus actual. There's the 89.9 roughly cumulative amount to date. There it is. Appendix D provides you with a detailed funding commitments and expenditures information, so the funding combined. It's your plan versus what was actually received, and then a ratio. And then detail on your commitments and your expenditures, both by month and then cumulatively. We've added table for Appendix D, table for SPLOST 6 funding. And there's your 89.9 approximately cumulative funding received to date for E-SPLOST 6. Appendix E, we mentioned earlier, provides you a breakdown of those bundle projects that are reported in Region 0. In the region where they occur, so you can see how those totals match with Table 6. That concludes a formal report. We do have some photos we want to share. Let's start at the top. Security vestibules is a big topic, of course, and we are completing up most of the Group A security vestibules. This is Bob Mathis Elementary. You can see that looks like they're waiting for the installation of a transaction window, bullet resistant glazing. Here's Cedar Grove in Group A, essentially complete. When I say essentially complete, we're still, Division of Instructional and Information Technology is hooking up their access controls to Group A as we speak. Here's the security vestibule for Woodridge Elementary. And this is a window between a corridor that goes to the closest restrooms and the lobby at Stone Mountain, replacing regular glass with bullet resistant glazing and the appropriate storefront, accompanying storefront frame there. So that's a quick look at February's progress. I'm happy to take questions or additional questions.
Thanks, Mel. Does anybody have any questions for Mel in regards to the MSR report? Any additional questions, I should say. All right. Next on the agenda is the facilities maintenance report, work order report update.
There, I was muted. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was going to do, one, we have not gotten an update on these on the website yet, and I need to verify exactly who it is that is doing this and what their schedule is. I believe our meetings are just ahead. So you can see last month we were at February 20th when these were updated. So I'm not sure that I can do that right now. So the what I wanted to look at and what I looked at today was the changes between the the February 20th work orders and the February 2nd work orders. So if you go, and again, this is on our website, it's very easy to find. I've shown that a number of times. I can show again if we need to, but you know how to get here. But if you go to the historical data, you can look at the various reports. So I'll switch back and forth between the 2nd and the 20th. But on the so this number here, this is the total number of work orders, including open, closed, in progress, all of them. You can see in February 2nd, we had 8,965 total. We had on the 20th, 9,402 total. Of those, and I won't switch back and forth on these. So that's a difference of 437 work orders. So the total number of work orders has grown by 437. What you will see here, and hopefully the pop-up comes up, you see there are 5,853 work orders that are closed in the February 20th report. And when you look at the February 2nd, there were 5,342. So the number of total work orders has grown by 437. The number of total closed work order in that same amount of time was 511. So we've made pretty good progress over the 18 days there, closed out 511 work orders. And when you look at these different pie charts, you see the total work complete. And then here you'll see a sliver of new, approved, and in progress. So this number, the total number of work orders and the total number of work orders complete will continue to increase. Those numbers will never decrease. If they begin to decrease, and we need to look into it. Those numbers will continue to increase because it's the total that we've received and the total that have been completed. What will generally be in flux will be these work orders. I'm going to go back to the 20th. What you see are the new, the approved, and the in progress. So the work orders, when they come in, they're listed as new work orders. And right now, we have in this little sliver, this had the number I calculated earlier because I couldn't get it to come up with 16 new work orders. So those are ones that have been put in when these statistics were pulled. There were 16 that had been put in and had not been pushed to in progress or approved yet. So the way this will work is a new work order will come in. The facility managers review it and verify that it is either truly a work order or it is, which is something, so a work order is something that our facilities maintenance department will handle, or if it's something that the school custodian or the plant engineer at the school is supposed to handle, things like changing light bulbs. If that's something that's put in as a work order, then it's denied because the school is supposed to take care of that. That's not something that our facilities guys come in. But if there's a light or a ballast that's completely out, or room that all the lights are out, then that's something that's a work order that our guys handle. So it goes from new to approved, and then from approved, it gets assigned to a technician and it's in progress before it's complete. So these numbers will always fluctuate. Because as things come in, they get approved. So that approved number goes up or down, depending on if it moves from approved to being in progress. So I was just going to go over the numbers between the 2nd and the 20th. As I said, there were on the 2nd, there were 5,342 that were closed. On the 20th, there were 5,853. On the 2nd, there were 2,167 in progress. On the 20th, there were 2,086 that were in progress. On the 2nd, there were 1,441 that were approved. On the 20th, there were 1,447 that were approved. And then the numbers I got, and basically what I did, I took the number, because this sliver is so small, it's sometimes hard to get in and see what the number is. I took the total number of work orders, subtracted out the complete, in progress, and approved. And I got on February 2nd, there were 15 that were new, and on the 20th, there were 16 that were new. So I'm not sure what the 8 that keeps popping up in there, where that number come from. So there was a difference of when you look at these 3, there was a difference of 74. So on the 20th, we had 74 less that were new, approved, and in progress. So I feel like we are, we're pushing through these and doing a pretty good job. You can find the same information if you go to each one of these bars. You can find the same information for every region. You can see here that there are 1,567 that are complete out of the 2,401. There are 779 that are in progress, 54 that are approved, and there is 1 new as of the on February 20th when this data was pulled. I went through each one of the other regions as well. I don't know if you want me to go through all of those, but you can do this. I mean, this is all live. You can go straight to our website and look at all the information for the past dates. You can look at information for each of the areas, and then you can also, let's see, there is here it is. You can also see, if it doesn't keep closing on me there, you can also go in and see more detailed information for the work complete, approved, and in progress for every school in each of the regions. So in looking at each of the, going through and looking at the total number of work orders and the number that were closed. So in region 1, there are 2,401 total, with 1,567 that are closed. That's 65% of the work orders in region 1 have been closed. Region 2, 2,603 with 1,230 that are closed. That's 47%. Region 3 is 651 total with 513, or 79% of the total work orders that you see here are ones that are closed. Let's see, number 4. 4 is 374 total with 196 that are closed. So that's 52% of the work orders have been closed. Region 5 is our stellar region right now. Of the 2,123, 81% of the work orders have been closed. So that's 1,723 work orders that have been closed of the 2123. In region 6, there's 642 that are total open with 326, so that's 51%. And then region 7 was 608 with 298, or 49% that are currently closed. And the reasons for why some are open and closed, they're all, I mean, it can vary depending on the type of the work order and the severity of the work order and what needs to be done. I see Kevin has his hand up.
Okay, thank you there so much, sir. Quick question. So I can get my camera working here. Quick question. So as we look at the totals here, I mean, obviously we got the opens and the closed work orders, but what's the starting time frame? Because it's when we say 50% are closed, but the understanding is really in what time period are these numbers for? Are they from the beginning of the year or?
I'll have to get that for you. Bobby has told me before, and I can't remember exactly what the start date was, but it was before the beginning of the year. It was sometime in the fall when we started tracking with this system. But I don't want to speculate on September, October, November, but it was sometime in the fall or early winter when we started these numbers. But yeah, I can certainly, I'll ask him.
Thanks. Yeah, that'd be an interesting data point because I think it brings brilliance into the progress. So thank you.
That would be, especially on the main screen, that could be something that would be, something that could be seen up here, 9,402 cents.
Right.
I'll throw a date out, November 15th, 2022.
That's right. Yeah.
Whatever the date is. I do apologize. I saw the note about starting video on this. When I'm sharing the screen, I'm not in Zoom enough to know if I were to close something, I might close everything. So, but that's why I say this information is live. It's on our website. You can go play with all of these different pieces, look at each of the regions, go, as I said, you can see more detail. There was also, what did I just see here? Something about drill through by requesting location. I guess that's actually when you click on the different regions, you can see that. I will say, because I know we've talked about reporting before in Munis. That is, I talked to Bobby. Bobby's out today, but I talked to him earlier this afternoon. He said that some headway has been made in some more efficient reporting, so it's not so as cumbersome as it's had been in the past. So that, hopefully in the future, and I can't put a date on it because I know our finance and our HR divisions are using our Munis developers quite a bit to get their pieces completed. So Kevin, I'll put that note down and I'll send a email out to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, this is Lisa Wright again.
Hey,
My
Lisa.
question, I haven't talked about the staffing. We haven't got like an update on, or how well staffed are we in this area? I know it was challenging before. Can you give us the update on the status of generally the overall school district? Is there any regions or high schools that are, are you doing more job fairs? Just that overall recap would be appreciated.
Yeah, I don't have information on that. That is something I can check and see. I was trying to remember when we had a job fair. It's been a few months ago. We had one on a Saturday. That really would be more of an HR update, but I can, again, I can ask Bobby or Eric and see if they can provide some information on that for, for operations for the school in general. That's something that would come from HR, for the district in general at the schools. Daniel?
Thanks, Richard. Related to Lisa's question, I saw in the Caterish where Board of Education approved the hiring of a new CFO. If that's true, have you and Mel had any conversations with the new CFO?
No, I don't know if Mel has. I kind of doubt he has. I have not had any conversations with the new CFO. I know he was present at the board meeting that night, but no, I haven't had any, and I'm not really sure when he's supposed to start. I don't, I currently, you know, at my current position, I don't interact with the chiefs a whole lot, or especially the CFO.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, so we're on to new business. 9A, notification of upcoming community meetings. There are no, or other events. There are none, from what I
Correct.
could see. 9B, review board meeting calendar and assign interested committee members to each meeting. When does the board meeting start? I think that was a question that we had as well.
Well, that's the, so the public part starts generally around 1 p.m. And that is when the presentations are made for the board agenda items. Generally starts with the superintendent's report. Then it goes to sorry, let me turn my camera on. So it goes from the superintendent's report to the either finance or HR report, and then each of the divisions, if they have an item for the board, they go through those. That normally starts about 1, but it really depends on what all the board has to discuss in executive session. And that generally starts, and that's a closed meeting. The executive session, that's in, I mean, that starts 11 or so, but when they come out, which is generally about 1, has been 2 or 3 before, that's when the public meeting starts, and will continue through until all the agenda items are have been gone through. And then public comment normally starts, I think, about 5:45 is what I've seen, and that goes for an hour. And then after that, the if there are any other items after public comment, generally takes 20 or 30 minutes after that. So it can run till 7:30, starting at 1, running to about 7 or 7:30. And what we did here is, this is the remainder of the meeting dates. So starting in April, and I know, Kathy, that was, you wanted to be able to discuss the meetings, and because I know at the last meeting there were a number of people that said they were interested in attending. So I think I will let you handle the rest of this, and y'all can just decide who's going to attend which meetings, and then we can mark it down and include it in the minutes.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Now on my list, I had Daniel, Kevin, Tommy, who is not present, Lisa, and Sabrina. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who was interested in attending the Board of Education meetings on behalf of the advisory committee. Okay, so we'll just go with those 5. So who wants to go to the first meeting? Not everybody.
I'll take that one. That's April 17th. That's that Monday. I'll take that one.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
You bet.
Okay, who's next? For May. Anybody for the May meeting?
This is Lisa. I'll take the May meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. Okay, anybody for June?
I can take the June meeting. This is Min.
All right, thanks, Min. You
No
weren't even on
problem.
the list.
I
Well,
have
thanks for
that.
volunteering.
I know I'm available that date, so I'd love to do it.
Okay, awesome. All right. July 10th.
I'll take that one.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I think we're going to stop in August, and we can pick up again for September through December. Anybody for August? Robert, are you volunteering?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. All right, that's good. So we will pick up from September in July, August, sometime in during one of our our summer meeting. So back to our agenda. And thank you for those who volunteer. I really appreciate it. Unfinished business, send photo and bio to update the website. Hopefully everybody's done it. I know I have not, so bad me. But we'll do it as soon as possible. Can we establish a deadline of our next meeting is April 26th? So if we do it before that time, let's say the 14th of April. All bios should be to Monica and your photo. And just to kind of circle back, we did discuss with Richard about the badges. I have never used mine, so I don't see a need for us to use them, especially under the conditions that we've been under for the past 3 years. I don't see a need for us to redo our badges. So we're going to hold on that. So if you have one, keep it. If you don't have one, okay. So anybody have any questions in regards to that? All righty. Number 11, collect recommendations from meeting and follow-up matters for next meeting. I don't think we had any. I don't know if anybody else heard anything.
I didn't hear any other than the photos and bios.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any announcements?
Well, Kathy, I will say the only follow-up matters are the 2 questions that were asked that I am going to, so when did we start keeping data in Munis and how well are we staffed? And I'll send those responses out to the committee.
Well, you know what, quick question for you, Richard. Is it possible, I know it's some of the E-SPLOST money does go towards salary. Is it possible for us to have someone from HR come in and talk to us?
I can check and see.
Okay. Because I think Lisa had a good point. We were a little concerned with the staffing for the facilities maintenance area, and just want to make sure that that's a good. So that we're fully staffed.
So the salaries that is in from the SPLOST funds are just really for the design and construction staff, the planning staff, and there are a few others here and there that are split between general funds and SPLOST funds, but that's generally what that is for. So it doesn't include, like any of the maintenance guys. It might include Bobby for a little bit, or it might include somebody else for a little bit, but it doesn't include maintenance workers or anything like that.
Okay. But I think the point is well taken, that we want to make sure that we have enough people to maintain especially the major equipment that is going in. So, all right. Any other? I'm sorry.
I'll check with Eric on that.
Okay. Eric is he not coming to our meetings now?
He is on an airplane right now. So
Okay.
yes, he was unavailable today.
All right. So any announcements from any of our advisory committee members or anybody else? Sorry. All right, so hearing none, just wanting to make one real quick announcement. Please, everyone, if you would, I'm trying to make sure that I keep track of who is not in our meeting so that it's captured in our minutes, but I want to make sure that I'm doing that correctly. So I want to make sure that you look at the minutes to make sure that you have been listed as present or not present if you're not here. So please make sure that you look at that, if nothing else, in our minutes. I will, for our next meeting for April 26th, I will be in a conference. So Daniel will be our facilitator at our next meeting. I might join in, but I'm not sure what I've got going on that day. So I may not. So Daniel will facilitate the meeting. I'm sure he'll do an absolute bang up job and do a wonderful, wonderful job. Any questions? So my notice is now that the chair will not be here on the next meeting, or possibly won't be here.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the confidence. We'll have a good meeting as always.
Oh, I know you will. I know you will. Let's see. Anybody else? All right, I think I can give you back 15 minutes of your time. Our meeting for March is now adjourned at 7:15. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and please continue to be safe, everyone.